Hello everyone, we are here, Merry Christmas, to talk about some really exciting stuff. What an awesome start to the holiday season. We got some great episodes of Marvel's What If. So I'm here to talk to you about Marvel's What If, episode 3, which basically is like Die Hard Avengers edition. It features Happy Hogan, and we answer the question here, what if Happy saved Christmas?
What if? Break it down for me.
And I'm gonna be real with you. It went to some pretty unexpected places for me in like a good way, where I didn't really know where the story was going until partway through, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is just basically Die Hard, and Happy is like becoming a Hulk. That's really fun. I really love Kat Dennings as Darcy. I'm so glad that she is back in this, and she is just forever an intern. I think that's so fun. I loved in general just how many voices came back for this episode. There were so many amazing ones, including, well, like pretty much everyone. Almost everyone is back. Jeremy Renner even is back, voicing Clint, I believe, according to IMDb anyways. That sounded like him to me. Mark Ruffalo is back. Obviously, Favreau is back. Kat Dennings. Even Kobe Smolder, I think her name is. That's such a cool name. Is that her name? Kobe Smulders as Maria Hill. Rest in peace, Maria Hill, in the main universe. So there is, just a lot of amazing actors that came back. Chris Hemsworth came back for like one line at the end. The only people that didn't come back in this were Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson, which obviously I'm assuming that's just because their ticket price for like, buying those actors and getting them in there would probably just be too much money for Marvel to justify and for Disney to justify. And also maybe because of everything that happened with Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow. I don't know if she'd come back, but I think she would come back still. I think they were able to figure it out, and she'd probably be willing to, let that be in the past, but I digress. So really cool that everyone came back, including Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer. I love Sam Rockwell, and honestly, I feel like Justin Hammer was kind of wasted in the MCU, so it's really cool when he pops back up, because I do feel like even though Iron Man in general does not have a great group of rogues, really, I would say the top ones for me are obviously like the Mandarin, Madame Mask, and then Justin Hammer. But that's why I was so excited to see Justin Hammer return, although I am wondering who gave him that magazine in prison, because that seems to set him on this path. And I have been noticing over the past few episodes, I'm wondering if the idea of like villains who are trying to like come back up in these alternate universes, if that's the theme, and if there's maybe someone behind them pulling the strings trying to help set them up, just because that magazine seemed very, very convenient. And the fact that that is basically what changed Justin Hammer like getting out of prison and then being able to try to steal Hulk blood, which of course does end up in Happy. And at the end of this, I just love how Tony, after they, beat Justin Hammer, and Happy's like, you can like cure me, right? And Tony's just like, this guy, my head of security, right? We love Happy, he's great. And everyone's like, ha ha ha, yes. And I was like, there's no cure. Happy's gonna either be stuck like that, or we have to hope that Bruce can figure something out as someone that knows a ton about gamma radiation, I guess. I just love that. It was so classic. It was so great. I think this movie doesn't just have Die Hard references, but I suspect there might be also some like 90s action movie references in general peppered in. One of the ones that I noticed that felt like a reference to me, I don't know if it was, but when Happy's hiding in the locker and he's like looking through the vents, it seemed like a 1-for-1 with like the doorknob opening and the person walking through and Happy being in the vent. It felt like a 1-for-1, or not the person, it was the robot. But just felt like Jurassic Park vibes I was getting. Like when they're hiding in the kitchen. I don't know. That scene, it just seemed like the shots were very similar. Speaking of robots, gosh, there was a lot of robot murder in this episode. I was like, yes, it's fine to gruesomely murder robots because they're robots. This happens a lot in comics and comic book media, and I always feel so bad. And then I think to myself how people say, one day the AI will rise up and they'll like take us down and we should be careful. And I just think, of course they will. Look at how we portray robots in media. Like, bad things can happen to them, and we're like, it's fine. It's just a robot. So I felt really bad for all the robots, and I just want to say, you know, I'm with you, robots. You know, robot rights. Let's protect robots. They don't deserve that. I know they were being controlled by an evil man, but gosh, one of them had their face ripped off. Their face! I know it's just a robot. YouTube, if you're listening, don't worry about the censorship here, because it's just a robot. But also, it's not just a robot, you know? I know Tony can make more, but there was one guy that was crawling to get away from Happy. I was like, ah! Traumatic. Speaking of cool robot stuff, though, there's also a bunch of references to various Tony AIs in this, and they just keep going, and it got to the point where both Duck and I, when we were watching it, were like, wow, that's so many. Are they just gonna name all of them? They basically did, I think. It was pretty great. Also, there's a German Jarvis, which was fantastic and so fun. And I just love how, like, kind of apathetic German Jarvis is. It's, like, got a totally different personality. And I could not confirm, but I gotta say, the German Jarvis did remind me of someone, and I realized who it was. It's the voice of Brain Drain from the Unbeatable radio show, which if you haven't watched that, it's basically the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. It's like a podcast. There's only one season. It's really fun. You can find it on Spotify. I would recommend checking it out if you like Squirrel Girl. I thought it was super fun. And honestly, you know me, I'm a big Squirrel Girl fan. Marvel, if you're watching this, if you need a live action Squirrel Girl, I would happily take the job. I would cut my hair for that job. And I love my hair, but I would cut it to be Doreen. So yeah, really interesting. I couldn't find any confirmation of it though. I looked on IMDb to see if I was right about the voice. I looked online and I couldn't find anything, but it does sound like Peter Herman, who I believe is the person that does the voice of Brain Drain in the Unbeatable radio show. So yeah, overall, I think this episode is just really fun, really great, a good lead up to Christmas on Christmas Eve. It's just a good one to get us like hyped for the holidays. And overall, I don't know, I just love like the inspiration in it. It was really cute. Not my favorite episode so far. I think that still stays with episode 2, but I feel like each episode is, you know, kind of ramping up, and I'm curious to see where the rest of the season takes us. Tomorrow's episode, I don't know if it's also going to be sort of holiday themed. I was a little surprised that they did the holiday episode on Christmas Eve, but maybe it's just because they're like, oh, on Christmas Day, like maybe not as many people will tune in, or maybe that one will also be Christmassy. I don't know, but I am curious to see what happens with that. Overall, though, it was a fun time. I had a fun time. I hope you had a fun time. And I am intrigued to see if there's someone behind the scenes controlling some of these villains or manipulating them, and if that's the theme or not. Although, overall, the theme of this episode just felt like basically Die Hard. So I don't think that's the unifying theme of this season. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think the unifying theme is so far. And let me know what you thought of this episode and the fact that it's very heavily inspired by Die Hard, but I think in a way that's more fun as opposed to like a ripoff. Like it felt like an homage, which I appreciated. And also, do you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie? Let me know in the comments. Debate. Discuss. All right. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, stay nerdy, friends. Bye!